Have you ever wanted to make big changes in your life but fail time after time? You're setting goals, but you never seem to get anywhere close to hitting them. You always end up giving up just a few weeks in. Well, so have I, over and over and over again. I wanted to think more about this and figure out why this happens, and talk a little bit about when I have actually improved greatly at something and was able to stay consistent, and when I tried to train skills that I burned out of or didn't accomplish much in. When I was growing up, I played guitar for almost 8 years. Sadly, I gave it up a little over a decade ago. But recently, I broke out the old guitars. I did some light repairs and cleaned and polished them up. I decided to try and play some songs again. I was a little rusty, but most of it was like riding a bike for the most part. Nothing complicated, at least, at that point. But I decided to try and pick it back up again because I was kind of going through a rough patch and needed something to occupy my time. But after a couple weeks, I had already forgotten about it and haven't touched my guitars again for over a year. I think part of the problem was the second song I wanted to learn at that point was very complicated and tricky to play. And most likely, it was also a little bit of an overestimation of my motivation in that moment. So, what can be done to prevent losing motivation and giving up on things is easy. I think for anything you want to learn, you of course have to actually enjoy the process and not just covet the end result. But something more actionable, if you've figured that part, would be something like the 1% rule, or the Japanese philosophy Kaizen. Continuous improvement every day, or at the very least consistently, even if it's just a little better, like 1% better. Whatever that may mean to keep you practicing and putting the work in. Focus on consistency over results. If you find yourself burning out on something like playing guitar, instead of trying to practice or learn a song for hours at a time, take 15 to 30 minutes every day and put the guitar down until the next day for another 15 to 30 minutes. The frequency depends on each person and what skill it is that you want to learn, but every time you practice, just focus on getting just a little bit better every time, and that will stack. It's like leveling up in video games. You can just keep leveling up until you're at a high enough level to achieve that end result you coveted at one point. In the case of video games, level up until you can take that boss. If you show up every day to practice for 30 minutes, it's going to be way easier than trying to do practice sessions for hours every couple of days. If you practice every day, it'll be harder to forget, and it can be implemented as a habit easier. My greatest skills I've culminated over the years are autobody repair and paint, and drawing. So how did I start these skills, and how did I stay consistent? When I first started doing auto body and paint, I was switching careers. I was a construction worker for years beforehand. I just really liked cars. The switch never made any sense. I could have made much more money, even to this day in construction, most likely. It was just something I really wanted to learn how to do the right way. And get that really nice OEM finish and paintwork as well. So I got a job in it. So this was almost like cheating. I wasn't getting paid much, but it was like $14 an hour at the time. But it's pretty hard not to practice something consistently if you have to as a day job. It's not really cheating though, it just takes a big leap of faith to switch day jobs like that. I'm not sure I'd recommend that unless you're already making a lower entry level pay rate at a career you don't necessarily care for. But this forced me to practice this for hours every single day. And because of that, I picked it up much, much faster than if I just practiced it as a hobby. For drawing, I had to take the hobby route. For the first few months when I picked up pen and ink specifically recently, I was very motivated and drew every day for a couple hours. But life has gotten busier the last month or so, and I still want to keep practicing, so I've had to reduce it. But I actually started a drawing channel to help myself stay consistent and make myself draw at least once a week. Improvement is slower this way, but whatever keeps me drawing is the right action. Same with whatever skill you want to actually improve in. I could have tried to keep practicing daily for hours, but it would have just made me burn out with all the other increases of stress in my life. Much better to keep a consistent frequency of practice by decreasing it, but continuing to do it. There is a catch to this idea, though. It will definitely feel way too slow. You just won't notice improvements pretty much at all until like a year later, and for the example of drawing, I probably won't notice the difference until a year at least. Maybe when I finally compare the beginning of my sketchbook to the end, or most recent additions to it. It may feel like you're not doing enough, or that it feels too easy. But I promise you that this method will keep you on track far better than throwing all your effort at the wall and seeing what sticks. This is like replacing a large amount of motivation with a small amount of discipline. The discipline will always win every time. So pick a skill you always wanted to learn, set a small daily routine for every other day practicing said skill, and instead of tracking improvement, start tracking consistency. For drawing, you could say I'm going to draw for 15 minutes a day instead of saying things like I'm working on getting better at art. It sounds too simple when I say it like that, but most people just get obsessed with something, practice it like crazy for a couple of weeks, and 3 months go by and they don't even think about it anymore. But I'm testing this out in real time with my drawing. I've been consistent for about 5 months now so far, except for 1 or 2 weeks. Since then, I've been drawing at least once a week for at least an hour collectively. If you guys want, I'll link the drawing channel so you can watch me implement this in real time. Anyways, guys, that's about all I've got for this one. Leave a comment about what skills you want to try and learn. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video or got anything out of it. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video.